Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today, we are working on our window manager. We are on day 4, I think, of this project. The goal here is to, make something that replaces, like, the desktop shell, something where we can, like, have windows, resize them, move them around, and do all that fun stuff, but it's ours. It's all ours. We could justify why, but the real reason is just because it's kind of fun. We have got to the point where last stream, we are trying to display this window. Just a little window, monkey head spinning in a circle, right? Nothing too crazy. We got to the point where in this virtual machine here, on SSH Gen, we can like run our client, our Wayland server, and then run our Wayland client, and we should see at the very least 1 or 2 frames of this thing. Look at that, the monkey's there. It's full screen, but this is technically one full screen window from another application, which is very cool. So this involves a bunch of stuff, right? So like the window manager has to initialize like graphics by talking to the file handle to the Linux kernel of like a DRM device, and then the client has to initialize an OpenGL context, render some stuff to this back buffer, send the buffer over to the Wayland compositor, i.e. us, and then we have to like reinterpret that thing as something that we can display, right? So this kind of, theoretically, this is all happening like 0 copy on GPU, right? So we like render this thing to a GPU buffer, that GPU buffer gets thrown over the fucking wire, in this case is like through the kernel, and then we like display that thing directly from that buffer. So we have gotten to the point where we have 1 frame shown, and then the client crashes because we are not like returning those buffers to the client correctly. So we need to do that. And then once we do that, we should be able to see like the head spinning. So that's going to be like a good early first win, hopefully. Then we probably want to not just spin as fast as we fucking can, but probably like on some form of, how do you say? Like we need to integrate with like vsync, right? So the graphics card is going to tell us every once in a while like, yo bro, time to fucking render, and then we should like render at that frequency. So there's going to have to be some sort of like independent like Wayland processing loop and like window manager render loop, which means that we need to bring in like an event loop of some form, read from the file descriptor from the kernel to tell us when to do a vsync, when to do like another render. Every render we should like, after we render, dispatch all of our buffers back to the clients that they came from. Then probably we should start trying to do multiple windows and stuff like that. But that's kind of like the plan for today, and I guess we could just kind of like see how far we get. I don't know if we're gonna make it super far, but we'll see. So first thing to do is like fix this fucking crash, dude. So what is happening here is our client, every once in a while, when the server says, yo, bro, time to render, we, in our main loop, go, hey, we want a frame, let's re-render and swap buffers, right? So we call swap buffers on this thing, and we send a file, we like lock a buffer that we send over to the server, and then at some point, we run out of buffers. And I believe that's why it's failing. I'm a little confused about this wants frame thing. This wants frame, this means that the server is sending this message over. Oh, because of this, right. So we need to look a little bit into the spec here. But I have noticed that our server, every time that the client says, hey, we have like attached a surface to a, we are like ready to commit this thing. Okay, so there is hand wavy. What goes over the wire is called like a WL buffer. This is like basically just like a chunk of pixels, right? This gets attached to a WL surface, which is like a thing that we want to display. So like, you could have one surface that kind of cycles through many buffers. That's actually what's happening here, right? So like every frame, we send a new WL buffer over to the compositor, and then we attach it to our like long-lived WL surface that is like the root of our, the root window. This is like technically attached to like WL Actually, don't know. This is attached to something. We have like windows in here. Window. Like who? Oh, this is like, okay, so there's like an XGG specification. I don't know who XGG is, but this is technically attached to a like top level window. And you can have like sub windows and stuff, but like this is attached to that. So what happens is like the client will like create a new buffer and he'll like say, okay, I'm good. And every time they call commit, we send back this like XDG configured notification. And I don't really know what that's for. We just like did that because it worked. But I don't really know when that's supposed to happen. So let's take a look at when that is supposed to happen. Probably in here. So this is a XGG surface configure. The configure event marks the end of a configure sequence. A configure sequence is a set of one or more events configuring the state of an XGG surface, including the final XGG surface configure event. Where applicable, XGG surface rules will, during a configure sequence, extend this event as a latched state sent as events before Jesus Christ. Such events should be considered to make up a set of atomically applied configuration states where the XGG surface configure commits the accumulated state. Okay, so somebody sets a bunch of state, we huck this shit over. So when is this supposed to happen? So where applicable? So like, what does this mean? I guess we should check in our client. We should check if, using like a sane server, like kwin, if that, like when that event happens, I guess is the way. Where the fuck is this in? Example main, probably. So here, can we just say like std log debug got surface event? Oh, we probably log this actually everywhere. Can we just turn on main here? Can we just turn on debug logs and see? All right. So can we look for configure in here? So this is happening. This is not happening all the time. Can we do this actually? Grep configure. Yeah, fuck off. Okay. So it does happen when I try to do a resize, but not any other time. Alt tab triggers it, resize triggers it, movement does not trigger it. So I guess this is like when it must be like the server is deciding that he wants something to have happened. So we also see unhandled top level event somewhere. So there's XGG top level configure as well. So it's probably like every time the window state changes, the server emits this like configure bounds event, right? He goes like, hey, we tried to resize. Or probably like, what about like when states maybe? Like somebody, he probably also wants to tell us if we're in the foreground or not, right? So like, what is states in here? I lost it. Okay, the states listed in the event specify how the width argument should be interpreted. Can we look at this again, actually? So when I alt tab out of this thing, yeah. So we can see here that there is like, when we come out, this array is empty, and when we go in, it's full. And then when we resize, this is probably like an array of integers or something, int 32s. And it looks like it looks like this configure is supposed to. Where does like ACK configure come in? Top level have ACK configure? No. So the cert, I think it's like this. There is a top level surface there's a top level window. There is a XDG surface that is like rendered into this window, who implements WL surface, right? So I think what's happening here is parameters change here, like the window size. And so we say, hey, this XGG surface that's associated with this thing, just so you know, like something is different about him now. So like check that shit out. So this sends a configure over the wire, and then we send back an ACK configure when this is done, is what's supposed to happen. And so I guess for our implementation for now, we can probably get away with only ever sending that one time. Just for now. Right, so in fact, we don't have to do this as part of the event loop. I guess we have to do it after they've bound. Right, so once we can actually send this like probably as soon as they bind to an XG surface, we just tell them they're fucking ready, right? I think. So like somewhere they're going to here get the top level surface, and here we create a surface here, and I think we just like fucking slam this shit in here. Whoa, wait, hold on. XCG surfaces. Who like inserts this guy here? Get XCG surface. This is where we should put the configure event. Just like as soon as they fucking get it, just like slam that shit, dude. I think that makes more sense than what we're doing now. Okay. Cool. So now what we should see is if we run this again. Oh, we fucking closed the VM like fucking dumbasses. If we run this again, now we should only ever see one frame try to come in, which is like more correct. And the client should just kind of stay open forever doing nothing. Because we have never attempted to get him to render a new frame. It was just happening as like a byproduct of us fucking something else up. So here it should be like compile this thing, copy it over, run swim, and run Wayland client. So now what happens, we should see this guy come up. The monkey should show up in like a few seconds here. And the client is still fine, right? Because the client now is never, ever, ever attempting to do anything. Right? He's just like, all right, like, yo, dog, one day are you going to ask me to render another frame? We're like, nope. Like, chill. Oh, I closed it again like a dumbass. It's so habit where you close the fucking app because you're done with it. We need to leave that open. Okay. So, I guess that kind of means this was all kind of like fix client crashing was kind of this stuff, right? That's done. And I think now we're kind of on, it actually makes sense to integrate with the event loop now, I think. Because we should say it is next frame time, like at some point, and that point is when we fucking rendered. And right now we're just rendering inline, which is wrong. So what the new plan, if I remember, okay, let's just double check this. So we've been kind of referencing this project KMS Cube, because they have this like render, like work with OpenGL, draw cube, just like to like the root window. I wonder if we can actually install that shit in our VM here to demo. That might be a nice thing to do. APK add KMS Cube. Is it in there? Oh, it is. Maybe? Yeah, it is. Right, so does it not work? he is probably rendering to this guy. Yeah, right. So this is this project, opens a GPU, does some like OpenGL rendering to that thing, right? So he is not doing what we're doing, where we're accepting buffers over the wire, but we have an example of like interacting with, the DRM system in some way, right? So when he is looking for page flips, I believe we saw somewhere that he is doing it by just reading from the DRM handle. Yeah. So he's calling select on DRM FD +1 is crazy. What the fuck? Okay, so he is configured. He has configured a page flip event. And then I guess what's happening here is he is. Hold on, man, select. What the fuck is this called? Oh, this is number of FDs. This is just wrong. This is just wrong, right? He meant to write 1 in here, probably. Surely the file descriptor number here is not an important piece of this. Okay, so ignore that for now. But so what he's doing is he has set up a page flip handler for this thing, and then he's just blocking on this file descriptor of that we have to like the GPU handle, because like I guess the idea is that like he will tell us it is time to, like, he'll wake us up when it's time to read, and then presumably this waiting for flip thing is this called by DRM handle event? I think so. So I think that what's happened here in this like weird roundabout way is he is attached this waiting for a flip variable to the page flip event. Then when he calls then DRM handle event takes this context thing, calls page flip handler, and waiting for flip is this thing because he attached it here. Okay, I think I understand. So I think that the overall, actually DRM FD +1 is correct. How in what world is that correct? How is, because if this is number of FDs, should be set to, oh my god. What in the actual fuck? What a crazy API. That's not number of FDs. What the fuck? And then also, I'm not gonna but see, okay, we're just fucking dumb garbage ass fucking API. It doesn't matter. So we should be able to do something similar where we I want to set up an epoll thing. So I want epoll, which is like kind of like select. It's like listen to a bunch of file descriptors and like tell me when something happened. We have kind of like event, right? We have like a library for this that basically wraps like an epoll setup and has it so that like when an event happens on some file descriptor, call some function, essentially hand wavy. So I think that our like epoll, like our main loop, Jesus Christ, can I please write a letter? Main should look something like epoll run, right? Run. And in this loop, we'll have registered like every single Wayland connection, right? So every Wayland client comes in here and it's just like we call some function when they write some data to us. And in that loop, we'll like handle all of like the Wayland chatter and state management. And then I think that we just have one more on here that is like DRI, right? And in that DRI handler, we basically say like, okay, did they tell us like it's time to page flip? And if so, we'll collect all of the state from these guys and do a render there. And then at the end of that render loop, we will like tell all of these guys that it's time to time to send us a new frame. Something like that. That is the idea, I think. So we should be able to be in here. So I think that we'll start by just making it so that our Wayland connection is like hooked up to the event loop. I think that's like stage 1 here. What does our like get state look like? It's fine. Whip. I was a little curious. Do you think your Wayland compositor could work in a headless mode? Getting headless Wayland up and running in a Docker container has been the worst. I guess maybe. Right? Because you could just choose to have a null backend and then render on a timer or something. Yeah, I mean, that's like not like an impossible use case. Surely somebody else has done that, right? Because like it seems like something would have somebody would want that. I did see actually. This is a joke that I've been wanting to tell for a long time. Hacker news. Terminal Wayland compositor. I was mad that this guy beat me to it. Term everything. Yeah. Term everything. This is such a good bit. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. But this guy has done something where he's written a Wayland compositor that runs in the fucking terminal. Isn't that sick? I've been thinking like for a long time I've wanted to do this, and he just beat me to it. But I'll just if he okay, I guess he put an ad. At the very least, this exists. LOL. That is simply insane. It's so funny. It's so funny. Okay, focus. Focus up. Time to fucking integrate with our event loop. So const stud. Oh, we have stud. So we have like somewhere stud event loop. How does this thing work? We register handlers with this guy, and then we call wait on him every once in a while. Okay. Then we have an example of a net server who we have one of these, so we could maybe work with this. I guess we create this guy and register his handler with the event loop, and he needs a context. What is context for? Probably to like spawn connections. Probably. He calls self context generate connection. Nice. And then does he handle setting the connection streams to non-block? Great. This is all wonderful. This is all wonderful. So all we need to do is implement a connection thing that will implement toll. Okay. Cool. So this guy's like, yo, let's make an event allocator. Well, what does this guy use this allocator for? This can come off the root allocator. Fuck it. Okay. So we have some loop. And we want to register on this guy, probably like this. Some like, you know, something that will spawn connections, right? So I think we want like connection, like I guess like root, like Wayland server context. And he said that he wants some function like generate that returns what? He just returns a new handler to get registered to the event loop. Right? Because this is used here. They attach this to net server with connection generator and then close as well. Okay. So this is like this. He returns a event loop handler or handler. And is this thing failable? Yeah, this is failable. Oh, and he wait, does he pass in the connection here? He does. So we say given some connection, oopsies. Given some connection, Is this a pointer? No. So given some connection, we need to make a new handler. So I guess this is like kind of everything that happens in handle connection is going to happen. We're going to like create our like long-term state in here, right? So we probably have like WL connection here. I don't really know what this looks like yet, but he has to implement event handler, right? So like vtable, oopsies, fuck. What the fuck did I just do? Vtable here is going to be a stud event handler vtable, I think. I don't know, man. And this is implements pull and close. So he wants to say, hey, there's some connection. Like, are we fucking donezo with that or what? So I guess this is just like these come in like here. Okay. And we don't know what's going to be done in here yet, but for now, we'll just kind of do nothing. And I guess we need like a way to convert this thing into a handler. Event handler. And so I guess like this thing is like, what's in this? Pointer, vtable, file descriptor. Okay, so I guess FD comes from self connection handle or something. So that means that this guy has to have one of those. His vtable is vtable, great. And then we have pointer is self. So this thing, I guess, has to spawn and live for some period of time, right? That's what this is like seeming like. So I think that here, we kind of want like connection allocator here. And I guess for each connection, we create like a new one. So server alloc or something. So here we're going to say like self server alloc make sub alloc for our connection. Okay. And I guess we just take this connection and we go like, I think we make a new, this thing needs to live forever, right? Because he's going to be like attached to the event loop or something. So I think it's like, we take this allocator and we literally just like create a WL connection on it. You know, ret is this thing. I don't know. So the client will connect to a server through a net connection on a Unix socket now. Well, the net server is in fact a Unix socket. Like Unix socket implements net server, if that makes sense. Because they're just like file descriptors that do like read and write. Okay. So I guess this needs to be like arena here. This thing needs to be tried here for this to work. And then I guess we like initialize this guy. So we like take his connection here. And we give him to him. And then we return ret handle here. And then since this is like long lived, when this guy closes, he also needs to hold his allocator. And just like when we close ourselves, we go like self is a pointer to WL connection, is pointer cast align cast context. Can we just go like self alloc dinit? And this should kill all allocations associated with this thing, including ourselves. Do we need to close the connection too, or is that handled by our parent? So server here, he calls stream close here and otherwise calls connection handler close. So I think it is expected. Oh no, inner stream. Yeah, I think it is expected that we close our file. I think. I don't know. We'll see. Something will fall over terribly if we're not. So it's like, close this shit, then kill our memory. This should be like that. That should be last step. Okay. So can we just return continue here for a second, or in progress? And this should be enough for us to compile. So we should be able to like take this guy, and loop register a handler. So we need like our server context is WL server context. Does he have something inside him? Yeah, he does. He has like server alloc is try root alloc make sub alloc for server. Great. So now the connection will just stay alive till the window's closed? Yeah, I think so. I think so. I don't know. We'll find out. This guy also this is actually more like we need to register a stud event net server here who gets our context like this, and then also he needs like the socket, I guess. Like this. Sorry, stud net server. Sorry, stud event net server like this. Oh, I'm a dumbass. I already had it. And like, what does this return? This return a handler? No. I guess it's like this. Then does this have like server handler or something? Yeah, there we go, baby. And then it should be like while true, loop. Wait. I guess is what is supposed to be happening here. And this takes in some sort of like scratch allocator. Like this. And I guess that means that we should be free to like reset this scratch allocator every frame as well. Does this guy tell me when I'm done? How do I know when to shut down? Who? I guess someone calls shutdown this thing. I guess it's the responsibility of someone else to call shutdown. And then does this thing like... Yeah, I guess someone... I actually don't know. Oh well. Okay. Let's just kind of see how this plays out. Just comment out some unused shit for a bit. Okay. This is mad that he got a handler and not some error union. Okay. This guy's mad because there's no close here. Which means that this guy probably needs to like hold the socket. No, because this guy does close the socket. So this is just like, I have no, I guess it's like self-server alloc DNet. I guess. Okay. Error union is ignored because this guy should go not be failable. This guy's mad because alloc is connection alloc. Okay. This guy's pissed because handle is substream, probably. Okay, so this compiles. So we should see that, like, if we run our server and then our client, Okay. This guy can talk to him, but nothing's happening yet because we're not like responding to any of his messages anymore. But like he is connecting, and can we like write down in here like stood debug print work to do? So this should happen every time our client sends us some data. Yeah, right. So we have work to do. But we're just not doing it. So now it's just like everything that we used to do over here is now done here. So we need like an init function here probably. I don't know. Init. And this init function is going to do something very similar to whatever was done on initialization here, right? And what is just like the thing that is done in the while true loop ends up being done in the poll function, I think. So it's like this stuff goes here. Boom. So we come in, we get our allocator. Where we're allowed to just kind of willy-nilly allocate stuff if it's going to live for the lifetime of our connection. And we get the connection. Okay. We go in here and we say, okay, we want some buffer to back a writer. So this comes from alloc arena. Here we allocate some buffer bytes there. File descriptor list, this also has to live for the lifetime of us. So alloc arena here. And here. Okay. Here we need DRM context. And then also this connection state also needs to have a stable memory address. So can we do this? Alloc arena create connection state. Okay. So now we can initialize this guy, and then we should be kind of chill for us to have like IO reader, IO writer, and then state, which maybe should get like merged in here later, but like whatever. We also need DRM context here, which I think is from backend DRM, like this. Cool. And then we just say return here. I guess this returns a WL connection. I think this is also init pinned, to be honest. Is that true? I guess we can go either way on it. We'll go this way. No, because connection state needs to be pinned, so this needs to be pinned. No, because connection state is a pointer, so we're good. Everything's so confusing. Okay, so here we should be able to return like IO reader is IO reader, IO writer is IO writer. We should be able to no, because these IO readers and writers reference the stream reader, right? So this guy also has to be reader is try alloc arena create a WL reader. Yep. There we go. And stream writer also, surely this thing needs to leave on heap as well. I think. All right, there we go. I think now everything is on heap, which means it all has stable memory addresses, so we don't have to worry about any of this shit. So IO reader, IO writer, we have state is state. We got our alloc is alloc, and connection is connection. So that kind of should be everything we need. We just now need to do like ret is init here with our connection allocator. What else does this thing want? Connection and the DRM context, which means that we need to write that down here. Okay. Which I think we might not actually want to go in here, but we'll do it for now. All right. And I guess here, if we fail, we nuke this guy. I think that's the play. I think that is the play. Cool. Does that build? It does. Okay. So we can't do this over here anymore. We need to do it in the VM. Because he's trying to connect to DRM. We don't have support for not doing that right now. So can we do like this? Okay, so he has work to do. Nothing really interesting happening yet. But we can handle that now. So now in poll, we should basically be doing whatever we were doing in the loop. Right, so just kind of copy paste this all the way down here. Looks like we probably need self in here. What is this? A wool connection? This is a pointer cast, a line cast of context. Boom. Looks like we have some scratch allocations that are happening in here. Which means that we probably want to keep track of our scratch allocator. Okay. So then we just start slapping self everywhere where it seems relevant. Everywhere where we see an error, we just huck a self in there. Okay. Nice. That compile, or not compiles, because now we need to give him a scratch allocator. Uh-huh. And so now this guy has to go in here probably. Boom. This guy wants scratch. And this goes here. Okay, which means this guy needs scratch. And then this scratch allocator gets reset every frame here. So as a user of this guy, we have to make sure that we're not like leaking scratch allocations out, but we probably aren't. We're probably fine. Is Emacs or Vim? Vim. Also, hello, hello, hello. Okay, so this thing can fail, which is interesting. The poll API does not allow failure, which is also interesting, right? So I guess we probably change this to poll error. And we have like a thin wrapper around this guy, probably, that calls like self poll error. Can we take this guy as the correct type? So we just do this, and we probably do like a catch here. And what do we do here? If we fail, we just like nuke the connection, right? We just like return complete and log an error. Failure, like WL client failure. Failure to handle WL client, and we just like log the error here, I guess. I think that there's like a nice little like stack trace thing as well that we can do. I think it's like here we huck in error return trace, if I remember correctly. How does this work? I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out pretty quick. Yeah. And then otherwise we're like, we're not fucking done yet. And then eventually we're gonna have to close the connection sometimes. But do you know, sometimes I try to yank a line, then delete a few lines and paste a line I yanked. Eventually deleting also yanks them. Is there a way to do this? You can hit the quotation mark. So I think that there's like, you know, if you do like quote A yank, then this will yanks into A buffer. And then you can do like quote AP to like paste from A buffer. And then what you can do is, I think that like underscore is like a scratch buffer. So if you can do like this, and it like won't fuck up your yank. Something like that. That's what I do at least. Okay, so poll here. Wait, what's wrong? Oh, poll should no longer return error. Okay. Yeah, we did lose the stream reader, huh? It's okay, we can just store that as well. Alright. This guy is just like void. Then this guy, do I need to like error return trace with a dot here? Yeah, there we go, it seems to work. Okay, so what we're hoping to see is that this just works now, I think. I don't see, like, any reason that it necessarily wouldn't. Failure to handle client read failed. Yeah, I guess that is true. So now that we have, like, non-blocking reads, things that used to work okay will not work. So we have to be a little bit careful about how we handle this stuff. I think that we want to peek struct here to get the header. Then we want to try to read. I think that we want to read this whole thing in. And then I hope that if read fails here, like, do they correctly buffer this shit if we fail? Like, what are our error types here? Read failed and end of stream. So I think probably not. I think we probably want to like peek here as well. So we want to peek header size here. And then if we get into all of this and we like succeed, I guess at this point we're good to discard. I think. If we read all of this stuff successfully, then we can discard I think this is okay. You know? Like something like this. This feels kind of right. I don't know what he's pissed about. Right? And so now what should happen is if we don't have enough data, we'll error out here. And then we can check if we can see if like read failed. And we can check if it's just because we were blocking. Right? We could do something like switch on the error here. I guess we don't know. So I think that the way that this like new API is supposed to work is that you're supposed to stash the specific error in your like stream implementation, right? So we can call this like last res or something is like a, you know, stood OS Linux error or something like this, right? And I think that what happens here is we set this to null off rip, and then if we fail, here, I think we say like self last res is equal to Linux error, like this. You know what I mean? And then here, when we're like inspecting that thing, we can say like, what the fuck happened to us? So here, I think we switch on, you know, stream reader last res. If self stream leader reader last res. Switch on that. Switch on that thing. Shut up. Why? Just don't. You don't have to say every single thing that you think. We shouldn't fucking be saying switch on that thing. Just like, what the fuck are we doing? And if we see success, no, I guess we're looking for again, probably. Can we just print that actually? Like this. So what I'm assuming is gonna happen here is that, oh, what the fuck? He doesn't compile right now. I guess what we should do actually here is just use success. And we don't need to be optional anymore, which is nicer. Yeah, that's much nicer. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, here, failed to handle, read failed. No, that's, what the fuck? So here he's complaining. Because what? Handle message put no clobber in poll, handle message put at line 228. What the fuck? Oh, wait, yeah, wait, what the fuck? Whose allocator are they using here? Surely we're not using the scratch allocator in here, right? Self state handle message. So state, does he have an allocator? He does. Who does he get his allocation from? From our allocator, so that's fine. So we should have an interface registry. But he's getting a double register from someone. Probably because we're not discarding properly. Okay, so he's saying, hey, oh yeah, it's oh, interesting. So he is seeing the same ID twice. This is supposed to happen in a loop, surely. Although that doesn't explain why we're seeing the same ID twice. Oh, I'm a dumbass. We forgot to discard the header bytes again. Oopies! We're just parsing the wrong fucking thing. Oopies! Okay, so now we are getting read failed. Last error 11. So I'm hoping that's E again. Linux Erno numbers. I don't know where I'm sure there's some man page that I'm supposed to look at here, but yeah, it's E again. So now we can say if it's E again, then fuck off, right? Right, so here we return in progress, else we can even do this. We can even say here like stream this. Bum 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 bum. Return complete. Okay. Now, what's he pissed about here? Oh, is it just again no E? Yeah, there we go. Cool. More utils has a or no command. But like, surely there's like supposed to be some man page that I go to, right? Surely. Okay. Okay. Does he render ever? No. Oh, because our poll didn't have that loop yet, right? We're supposed to do in here, while true, because we might have to consume multiple messages in one poll. And we haven't done that yet. So the exit condition of this is always that we fucking error out somewhere. I think. I don't know, we'll see. You should be, let's go! We're so back, baby. So now, theoretically, I think we could connect a second client to this thing. And like, it would all just kind of work. I think. So this guy is he's talking. He's like, yo, some shit's happening. And we see a little flicker here. And then we just happen to be showing the same fucking picture, right? But both of these guys are like sitting here thinking that they're talking to this guy. End of stream is not handled correctly. It crashes our window manager, but it's a lot better. So if we see switch E, probably, it's like read failed is when we look at this shit. But if it's error end of stream, it's just like return complete. And what's the other one? Error write failed as well. I guess we'll just say that here as well. I guess maybe it's just else. And we can say like fail to read WO client here, and then here you can say failure to handle WO client with this stuff. Maybe this is the play. It's weird that we have that fucking Windows shit where you can't copy over an open file. I don't know like how the fuck, I didn't know that was possible on Linux. Like, I don't know how the fuck Alpine managed to do that, but it's kind of impressive. All right, so I close this now, and it still says failed to handle WO client end of stream. Oh, because I'm a dumbass. Wait. Oh, this isn't crashing. I'm an idiot. We're fucking logging the backtrace intentionally. I just thought that seeing the backtrace log meant that we crashed because that's what I'm used to seeing it as. But this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Okay, so integrate with event loop. I think that's like pretty much there. And I think that means that we should be in a place where we can set up a render loop now, right? So we should be able to, actually, let's do a get add-u, get commit-m checkpoint here, just in case, you know. This will all get folded down later, but just in case we do something like really fucking brain dead. So we want a DRM, like a vsync handler or something, right? And he is also going to implement this like epoll style interface that we have. So where the fuck is that? That's up here somewhere. WL connection. So like we need to implement this thing, right? Boom, which means that we need like the function poll here. You know, we need to implement this and function close. Okay. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. So what does this guy do? His file descriptor is one of these. Okay, and he on poll, I guess, checks the state. So what did they do? They in KMS cube they did this like register a page flip handler and then call DRM handle event, right? So do they read from this thing or what? No, they just call DRM FD, DRM handle event with the FD, and that's like good enough for them. Right, so here we should be calling like backend like need like wants page flip maybe. I guess it's probably more like this, like return in progress. And this probably takes in DRMFD here, right? Something like that. How do we get self again? Absolutely does not matter, but if anyone cares, Erno3 says the error numbers that correspond to each symbolic name may vary across Unix systems and even across different architectures on Linux. On any particular Linux system, one can obtain a list of all symbolic error names using the corresponding error numbers using Erno1 command, part of the more utils package. Oh, so you are kind of just saying that is like the correct answer? That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm like, how the okay? What time is it? 3:30. Is there like what the fuck do they do? Like, so in here you huck in lookup mode. So they're like report from code, which goes for each code. If it's code, then report given this name. So where does this ernos thing come from? Include ernos.h. Oh, they're probably doing like that macro bullshit, right? They're probably doing one of those like x macro. See, what is it called? Is it this? Yeah, I bet you they're doing this shit, right? Where they stringize the Erno number somehow, right? Let's look at ernos.h. Ernos. Where the fuck is it? Do they generate it as part of their build? Yeah, they do. So they Jesus. So they compile dump.c. They like pre-process this thing. What is dump.c? Oh, include erno.h into dump.c. So they're just literally like taking the erno.h header, and for each define, they're using awk to print out. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I knew it was some bullshit. Okay, so basically there's like no real supported way, and they are pre-processing the header file with awk. They're doing, I don't know what like this does. This is probably like run the preprocessor and dump defines or something like that would be my guess, but who fucking knows? That's crazy. That's okay, so it's fucked is the answer. That's so cool. What the fuck is going on here? Why? What the fuck is? Why is this mad? Am I high? Local constant self? Oh. Sure, because I just accidentally pasted something when I wasn't supposed to. I see. Okay, so we are looking for a vsync handler here. And we are trying to call backend wants page flip. So backend function wants page flip takes in a file descriptor and returns a bool, right? And I guess he might. Ooh. So I assume that in that KMS cube example, I assume that this function cannot be called unless they have called this function, right? So we should be okay to set up like a local Boolean, right? We should be able to be like var, you know, wants page flip is false, right? And then we should be able to call DRM page flip. Oh, it looks like this is actually something that runs on the DRM context because he needs the frame buffer and shit. Right? Which means that like the frame buffer needs to be stored in here as well, right? He's got a frame buffer ID here. Which kind of indicates that this frame buffer... No, I think that he's constructing the frame buffer every frame. DRM FB. Oh, we can't grep in this project. Is he creating a new one every time? Yeah, he is creating a new frame buffer every frame, which means that we should be stashing the last frame buffer we created in this DRM handle. And every time that we make one, wherever the fuck that is, we can kind of pull this here. Yeah, so we can say like FB ID is like a self last FB ID or else return false. If there's no file, if there's no frame buffer, then we don't want to flip, right? Surely. Maybe we do want to flip if there's no frame buffer. One of the two. We either always want to or always don't want to. Then we like say we set this thing up and we wherever the fuck what was that command? DRM legacy. They're calling DRM mode page flip. We're taking self FD. They're taking the CRTC that we're talking to as well as the frame buffer ID. Wonderful. And we're saying DRM mode page flip event. For this event, could you please look at this wants page flip thing? Right? We pass this bool along. Then we just call this, right? Handle event with this handle, and we have this like context, right? Which comes from this thing where you know, this is like this. And we need some handler, so I guess here it's like page flip handler. And this is a external function page flip handler takes in wherever the fuck this thing takes in. FD cint frame u32 sec. Can I just do c uint actually? Yeah, I can. usec c uint and then data is any opaque in this language. We kind of, is it, we call conv here. We ignore literally everything. But we do take data. So we have like, bool wants page var const wants page flip is a pointer to a bool from pointer cast align cast of data. Bing bang boom, and we just say wants page flip. Surely this is true, right? Surely this happens on page flip. Oh sure, because there's this waiting. We said wants. Sure. And then we just return wants page flip, right? Boom. That seems reasonable. That seems relatively reasonable to me. So now this somehow is not compiling? Oh, because this is on DRM now, right? This is self DRM context, which means that this guy should just take in the DRM context here. And now this is okay. And then we just need to like set up the handler function now. So this guy's gonna return an event loop handler. Right? So this is a vsync handler. Pointer returns, you know, our pointer is self, easy peasy. Our FD is self DRM context DRI file handle, wonderful. Our vtable is vtable. And now I think that we can kind of just in here, can we just do like std debug print flippy time, flippy floppy. And we should probably take the time here as well. Let's do this. We get an instant here, and we say const now is a time instant. Now, whatever. Defer self last is now, and then we return now since self last. Sure. Maybe like divided by std time milliseconds per nanoseconds per millisecond. There we go. Something like this. Something like this seems reasonable. So now all we have to do is like make this thing, right? So we have to go like vsync handler is a vsync handler where we pass in our DRM context as DRM. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Right? And then we register this in with loop. Right? So we just go like loop, register, vsync handler, handler. Seems reasonable to me. Seems reasonable to me. It doesn't build, but you know, you can't win them all. Am I fucking stupid dumb? Like, what the fuck are you talking? Oh. We did just leave some C code kicking around in there like idiots. Idiot. And then I just put this in the wrong spot? Like, hello? Hello? Oh no, wait, this is right. This stuff is not. Wait. I just added an extra thing in here. Oh, it's EVC. Never mind. I'm fucking high out of my fucking mind. Okay. File descriptor here. Yeah, we don't need that anymore. True. This is also unused, I guess. Does Zig just let you cast away the optional? So for pointers, Zig can't have null pointers, so it kind of knows, I think, my understanding is that it's like, it knows that null pointer in C, is pointer of 0 is the same as like a null in question mark star any opaque. I think it's like a special case for optional pointers. Because of the fact that optional pointers encode their null value as, like, it's the same, like, there's no extra byte for the null when it's packaged with a pointer or something like that. You know what I mean? You know? Last is std time instant now. Okay, this is like, yo, you don't need to pass in the file descriptor here anymore. This guy is like, yo, this shit might fail, and I'm like, shut the fuck up. Let's put those on both of these actually. Seems bad. EVCTX is like, I found one of those, expected one of those, so this thing has to be variable, I guess, according to the API. This thing can fail, and let's fucking see. So do we have a log here that we said flippy floppy? Nice. So let's copy that bad boy over. And run it. All right. Flippy floppy? No. So this is just never happening. Ever. So the question is this happening, right? DRM daddy woke me up. I shouldn't say DRM daddy. What the fuck is wrong? Shut the Why? Why are we like this? Like, just don't. Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if it's that we have to push another buffer in, and then it will tell me to, maybe I'm supposed to execute the actual flip somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's actually only once we have, can we look at what KMSQ does? So they get a frame buffer. At this point, they're doing nothing until the flip thing comes in. Then when do they actually, whoa. When do they do it though? When do they do the flip? Here. Yes. Okay, so see what they're doing here. Wait, hold on. So they do the page flip here. Oh, but this is only the first frame. So then on like frames N to whatever, what the fuck is going on here? They like do the OpenGL shit. They swap buffers. They lock the front buffer from this. BO. It must be. Oh, wait. Is it this? Okay, so like in get from BO, they create a frame buffer here. They don't do anything with that frame buffer though. They just create it. But this is using a page flip thing for the new frame buffer, not the old one. So it could be that this function actually does the re-render. In which case, they're kind of like stalling for the next frame. So really, this is like not wants page flip, but this is more like page flip complete. You know what I mean? That's kind of more along what this is. And so if page flip complete, it's like new page time. Okay. And so also the first frame that we pass in is not using that. Right? So can we initialize as a blank screen or something initially? Okay. So what we should do here is we have all of this stuff happening. Can we let's do this. if this has ever happened, so on the first frame, we do this, like, set CRTC shit. But then on every other frame, we do that, like, KMS cube shit. Where they queue up the page flip. Which should happen here, like this. Maybe. That feels like maybe kind of right. Oh, and then this guy, he wants to store data with this all, like, long term. Interesting. So this goes up here now. And we initialize that to false here. Then it's like this to check if we're donezo, I guess. I guess it's like something like this. We can try it. Something like this. I don't know, man. Alright. Hello? Shouldn't something be happening? I mean, that means that, like... Oh, we need to check here, maybe, when we do this page flip complete thing. We need to, like, check if there's anything to be done. Probably something like this. He's probably, like, blocking it in there. There we go. Okay, so this renders. But nothing's really happening, huh? Oh, but we're only ever seeing the first frame. So we need to get him to send multiple frames here, which we're not doing. So can we here, after we call display DMA buff, we have to tell this motherfucker that it's time to do something. So I don't know how to do that. It's like, who in the client is saying wants frame here? This is happening when we get WL callback. So just any WL callback? How is that supposed to work? Wayland app. WL callback. So this guy is... must be here, WL surface frame, right? Yeah, so here we are, they say, whoa, hold on. We register one time on initialization a frame callback ID. And then I guess that means that we rip that shit every once in a while. I guess it's like something like that. So this is WL surface frame. Request a notification when it is a good time to start drawing a new frame by creating a full frame callback. This is with both throttling redrawing operations and driving animations. When a client is animating on a WL surface, can use the frame request to get notified when it is a good time to draw and commit the next frame of animation. Blah, blah, blah. Sure. So we just kind of rip this shit. So in the server side, when we get a WL surface frame. Oh, we just immediately tell them. That's funny. So here what we should do is we should write down, you know, state frame callback like this. Probably something like this. Then basically like after each frame, if self frame callback ID, we do this. Right? Something like this. And this happens every time we try to display, which means that we should start like ripping multiple frames, I think. I fucking closed the VM again. I did it again. God damn it. What are we cooking? We are working on a window manager. Window manager. Wayland window manager. Compositor, as some people would say. That one guy in my YouTube comments really doesn't like the word compositor. I don't know why. It seems like we're composing stuff, but, you know, whatever. All right, so can we run the window manager and the client? So we're hoping to see that this guy tries to render. Oh, I did see a little bit of movement in there, which is really good. So now the question is did we see any indication that the DRM system is telling us to render, right? I don't see any like any indication that that DRM file descriptor is working. Yeah, wait, what the fuck? Vsync handler. Can we say like wake up here? Maybe it's our like parsing of the maybe our like page flow event shit isn't working correctly, but yeah, I'm not sure. So he wakes up one time here. We run the client. Do we see wake up ever again is the question. Yes. Yes, we do. So that's good. It's more likely to me now. It feels like this isn't working now. That's just how it feels. Right, because we're not seeing this flippy floppy log ever. But we are seeing wake up. So it means that like our processing of this is can't be right. Can we look check here? Page flip handler time, baby. And then flipping our shit. Let's just make sure that all of this is going where I think it should be going. WL callbacks are not reusable. Well, I've been reusing it. So, I don't know. Okay, so we are flipping our shit. And we are seeing page flip handler time, baby. Right? So, it feels like if this is happening, then this should be happening, which means this should be returning true. Yet, We're not. So then there's a possibility of, yeah, that's confusing. Unless we're like doing something really stupid. It's this. It's this. It's this. It's this. It's this. I bet. I bet you if I put a pointer here, it starts working. That's my bet. Yep. 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 I should just never fucking pass my value ever. This bites me so fucking often. Why do you have to specify empty param to print every time? Because there's no like there's none of this in Zig except for with C API, I think. Right? So there's no like, because like that just like adds a bunch of complexity, right? The VAR shit in C is like crazy. What are you supposed to say for your YouTuber? The VAR situation is insane, right? But like the way that shit works is like kind of fucked, right? When you call like printf, %s, %d, %f with like, string int like 3.5 or whatever, right? What's actually happening here is printf has no clue how many arguments you passed in, right? The only way that he knows that is he parses this string and says like %s, I guess there's a pointer in RDX or whatever, right? And he says like %d, I guess there's an int in, what is it? Whatever, in like next register, right? Then it's even crazier because if you pass in like %c here, it's like, then you pass in like a here. This a gets like upcast to an int, and then you like and pass it. It's crazy. Like it's all fucked. It's all fucked. So it's just like this is like a fucking disaster. And what like you can do in Zig instead is you're just like, I'll just pass in a struct, and that struct can be like iterated with comp time, with like type safety, and it's great. It's sick. It just means that though you don't have like the optional, so you just have to pass an empty struct if you're not using it, which is like fine. All right. So we have like a render loop now, and I think what we should do now is we should send that callback. Here, right? We need to be like here, like notify all connections that it is time to re-render. Which is kind of fucked up. We're not like really well set up for that, huh? It's like we have these like WL connections that are being spawned just kind of like every once in a while. And he owns his own connection state. Which means that like this guy, if he wants to iterate over all connections, all surfaces or something, he doesn't like have that information. He could though, if this guy just doesn't own his connection state. This connection state lives like globally somewhere. Like somewhere we have at the very top level connections. This is like a bad, like not necessarily the way we want this to go, but you could have like one of these guys with connection state like this. Sorry, I'm just thinking about like removal and shit. Whatever. Root alloc block alloc or allocator. Let's say that like we'll probably have like less, like typically like 10 max. Like if we have like 1,000 windows, then like, or 1,000 apps open with their opening windows, I guess that's like, Fuck you. um then can we pass this guy somewhere? So like connections gets owned here. So then this guy gets connections here. Okay. And I guess that means that here we say like new state is connections get pointer the last thing. And can we like what goes in here? I guess this has to go inside actually. Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna handle removal yet. But you know, we'll figure that out later. So here, instead of allocating connection state, he's like he says like self connection state append connections append undefined, I guess. Then we say like var connection is connections get pointer of connections len -1 init pinned here. And this is state, actually. Something like this. Then like somewhere on close, we have to like fix me remove connection from state from list or whatever. We'll handle that later. Then this guy has like connection state in here. I don't know, man. I don't know yet. We'll see. So then on each page flip, we're just like, yo, we fucking rendered everybody. Let's fucking go. So we're just like for self connection states. I guess we have like an iterator. While IT next, we have some state. And I guess in here, we should be able to call like state writer. It's like state frame callback. It's just this, right? Then like a flush here. So I think we just kind of rip this on all states. So yeah, sure. So for each guy, fucking render that shit. And then here we don't do that anymore. Here we just queue this thing up. But we don't ask for a new frame until render loop is ready. Maybe. We'll see how that goes. Bum 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 bum. Okay. This thing needs to be tried. This is already a pointer. This thing is failable. Probably no. What's he mad about? Oh, state. My bad. All right. Then this guy's mad because this stuff can fail, so we just kind of do like catch unreachable for a minute. Just for a minute. Okay. So now, what are we looking like? I guess the first page flip never happens, right? So is he getting a wake up? No. So we've got a fucking problem where the first frame doesn't trigger this thing. So I guess can we just do like if self page flip complete return true? But even then, this doesn't happen until the DRM file handle is like, shit, something's going on, right? So we need to, I think, do this like frame callback thing and ask for 2 frames, like unconditionally or something, right? This is weird. There's something fucked going on here. But here it's like, if, you know, what the fuck just happened? So we want to like kind of do this here. Like 1 time per or something. Because this guy's not going down this path. But it would be nice if we could just do this every time. That kind of solves this problem. Let's try that first. Maybe we can kind of do this initial. Like, can we do this where on initialization we kind of do something like this? Just with no frame buffer, but we kind of do everything else? You know? Then, in the future, since this thing is initialized just with no frame buffer, we can kind of do this all the time. That would be nice if that worked. That'd be very cool. Very cool. God damn it, I closed the VM again. I closed the VM again. VM again. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. VM again. All right. Copy this thing over. Run the window manager. He says wake up. Run the client. And we're hoping that something happens here. Okay. Yeah. That's good. So that we did see multiple frames come in there. We saw him move a little bit. I don't know if you saw that, but we do see a very slight amount of movement here. Okay, sick. So I think that means our render loop is working correctly. Right? Because I think that means, I guess I do see some like, oh, sure. He's sending twice now. Oh, I closed the fucking VM again. He's sending twice now because we don't ever remove state when we close the window. But that's okay. We'll hook that up later. So I think that means we've kind of done this too. Render on vsync, huh? Now we need to, I guess, fix, like, return frames when we are finished. Return GPU buffers. So when we are finished with these guys, I think from the render loop here, in the same way that we say, yo, you're fucking good to go, I think we just also respond with the release buffer event. And then I think that everything kind of just works. So here on vsync, it's like state IO writer. Okay, how is this supposed to work? client, like window. He somewhere is going to get a release event here. WL buffer release. So I guess we need to, when we render this buffer on the server side, it's like on commit. We probably want to like mark buffers for, I think we're only ever getting one buffer at a time. This might be a little sketchy. I'm not sure. It might be better. Do we have to ensure only the buffers currently queued get released, right? But we can do something like state buffers, like iterate overall buffers for state buffers. You know, do something. I guess it's more like var iterator is state WL buffers iterator. Oh, sure. Hold on, what is in this thing? The object IDs are in here. So I think we go over this, and I think we go like for each key iterator. I think we're just kind of saying like, I guess this is like a buffer iterator. So for each buffer ID here, I guess. What is he pissed about here? Oh, this is a fucking array? Oh, because I guess we accidentally used auto array hash maps. That's funny. I don't think that was an intentional choice, but okay. If you say so. That's funny. Okay, so for each of these things, I guess we do like a bindings WL buffer here. Buffer ID. We create an interface of this thing. And can we just do like buffer release? And does this thing have parameters? No. Okay. That seems kind of reasonable. So here we say, like, here you go. We're donezo with that shit. Go fucking crazy, bro. SSH, please. SSH, please. So, server, client. Let's go! Let's fucking go, baby! That's sick. That's sick. Slow as fuck, no? I guess we can find out. We can find out. Here we can say what our frame rate is, right? As long as we kind of... Can we fix our fucking logger? What is it? Pub const SD options equals stood options log level warn, and then in here can we just be like fuck this flippy floppy? I guess we will print flippy floppy. Fuck it. Fuck it. Let's see how fucking often we are flipping. Why is it still showing debug logs? I mean, we do see here that the frame rate here, I'm a little concerned about how often it's sending WL buffer release. What's going on there? Oh, fuck, because we're not cleaning up. We're supposed to be doing like state WL buffers, storage. We want to like completely nuke this shit. Fix, like, here we need to be like, mapping clear retaining capacity and state double buffers storage clear retaining capacity, and it's like fix me like clean up XDG buffer, like clean up any corresponding buffers. But that is just like infinitely growing, which is bad. Okay. Hello? There we go. Yeah, okay, here we go. So now it is like probably on the order of like 50 milliseconds. So what is that? 1 over 50? Wait, am I fucking stupid? 1 over 0.05. So 20 frames per second. 20 frames per second, which isn't amazing, but it's hard to know whose fault that is. Hard to know whose fault that is. Because I assume here, like, if we run the client here, this is running much faster, but it's unclear, you know, a little unclear to me if 20 FPS in the VM is like normal. You know what I mean? Like we don't know what the refresh rate is. It could be that we're not like buffering enough frames, right? We might be supposed to be queuing like 2 at a time so that there's always one for the fucking thing to pull. But unsure. Unsure. All right. So I think maybe the acceleration's off. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I am down to take a closer look at it, right? Because I do think you're right that there could be something wrong here. But yeah, I mean, I would call this like a pretty big success for now, right? I was going to go to like multiple windows and stuff. I bet you what'll happen right now, actually. We can probably run 2 of these windows and see them fight each other, which is kind of funny. I think, right? If we see 2 of these, I wonder if one wins or if they just start like freaking at each other. It looks like one is, oh, there we go. There we go. So here we have proof. Here is our proof that we have 2 windows running at once. Okay? This is our window manager. They are perfectly on top of each other. But this sure is 2 windows both talking to the same compositor, and that's fucking sick. All right, cool. I think there's like lots more work to do there. But it's pretty sick that it works at all the way it is now. So I think this is really we're not closing file descriptors on the server side. So we need to fix that. But you know, we're getting somewhere. Multi-window support, baby. Yeah, let's fucking go. So yeah, let's call it there for today. I think that's like good progress. What did we do? We fixed some configure events to stop the client from crashing. We added an event loop and then set up the Wayland clients like register with the event loop. Then we hooked up the like DRM file descriptor to also talk to the event loop and figured out how to like get vsync callbacks for when page flips happen. So yeah, lots going on there. I guess the next thing is to try to like have something in the window manager like windows themselves, right? And try to like render those around the surfaces, and then also try to like composite the surfaces so that they're not taking up like, how do I say this? Like, they're not always full screen, but they're taking up like smaller segments and like surrounded by window border or something. I did raise an eyebrow at good time to begin, draw, and commit a new frame in the docs. Those two things are not associated with the same time instant usually. Yeah, I agree. There's something there where like we're probably the frame callback probably tells you time to start drawing, and you can commit as soon as you're ready, but we won't display it until the next frame or something like that. That'd be my guess. But yeah, it's worth taking a closer look at. Cool. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. If you like you saw, we stream most days. We have for 12:30 to 4 o'clock Pacific time. It's 4:20 now. Blaze it. Bless up. Shut the fuck up. But so anywhere between 4 hours ago and 20 minutes ago is like especially when you should expect to see us live. If you're watching live, there's a YouTube link in the Twitch description where approximately half the stuff goes up. So we kind of there's too much stuff to put on YouTube all the time, right? It's already too much with a 2-hour VOD, but I am willing to watch a 2-hour VOD every day. I am not willing to watch a 4-hour VOD every day. And so what we do is we kind of put the second half as like a focused segment, like feature development, like what you're seeing now. But there's also kind of like another segment where we might be doing some like random side quest shit. So like today in Happy Hour, we were looking at cleaning up and like trying to finish up the hash map stuff we worked on a long time ago, try to get that integrated into the standard library. Not really worth doing a whole video on, but is worth kind of streaming and doing. So if you want to see that stuff, you have to catch it live, or if you subscribe on Patreon, YouTube members, or use your Twitch Prime or pay on Twitch, you get access to the VODs in the appropriate spot that have like the full content. So if you want that, that's there. You also get the knowledge of knowing that you're helping the stream stay alive because, when I run out of money, I have to get a job, which means the stream will stop happening. But we're managing to starve that off for now. Stave that off? Stave that off sounds like what you're supposed to say, but it doesn't make sense in my head. Stave that off. Is that really a fucking phrase? Why? Where does this come from? It is. What the fuck is a stave? Stave. What the fuck does this mean? Weird. So it's like you're hitting them with the wood? Like, what the fuck does this mean? Stave off, to ward off, but like, why? Etymology. Stave off etymology. Like, where the fuck does this come from? But, okay. So, like, at some point it mean... Fuck off! Okay, sorry. I'm trying to stave off a cold. Stave was a thin strip of wood, right? That's what we saw. Also stem of a ship. Staves are also plural of staff. Oh, so you could, like, hit him with a stick. That's so... Oh, to drive off or beat with a staff or stave. Yeah, okay. To beat off. Nice. Dude, that's some slang that we can start using. Let's fucking go. Okay, sorry. So, anyways, subscribe if you want. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. But, it's helpful. Okay, let's raid someone. YouTube, peace out.